Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jurassic Park. Or it might be a miniature painting video, I'm not quite sure yet. So, this is another hobby hour, and today we're going to be doing some base testing. We're going to be figuring out exactly what we want to do for the bases on this Combat Patrol of the Dark Angels that I got a few months ago. Now, I have gone ahead and applied the exact same texture that we used on here, this combination of cut sprue and coffee grounds onto a couple of Warhammer old Warhammer Fantasy Square bases that I had lying around. These came in some old eBay lot that I bought, and I have like 100 of them, so I like to use them for testing whenever I need to. So as for what exactly I'm planning here, now the original plan, let me break out the actual. Those of you who were here for the last hobby hour may remember our Brass Knight. Finally get to see him in HD here. Oh God, those black eyes turned out well. Now we used this guy's banner as a test for the color palette that we want to use eventually. That base tone of purple with the I'm not sure if we're going to go with the blue wash in the shadows. It does look good though, but it also looks a little bit leathery. Along with the red and green. That's the combination we're going to go with. We're not going to use the highlights of Screamer Pink, but the purple and green here that we know looks good together is what we're going to use for the Dark Angels. So with that in mind, for the actual bases, I want to make sure that we're using something different that's going to contrast well with that, but still allow the actual Space Marines themselves to stand out. So since we're using so much purple, red, and green, my plan is to use a lot of we're going to use purple undertone, so I want to use some reddish brown, or maybe just regular brown earth tones, some greens, browns, things of that nature, because it's going to be sort of pastel-y as far as the actual Marine himself. So I do have an idea that I want to maybe have... My biggest dilemma with these so far is what to do with these deep recesses. We could just make them black, we could make them a deep brown, but I also had the idea to maybe color them with azure or a blue-green and have it look like kind of like water, and then also do the eyes in the same color, sort of make an homage to their home planet and their, it would just look interesting. And I was planning on doing their eyes in probably a blue-green anyway. So I have 7 test bases here. The plan is we're gonna start out by washing 2 of them in azure, 2 of them in blue-green, 2 of them in black, and then for this last one, I haven't quite decided yet. I might just keep it to the side and just not... Yeah, I think that's exactly what we'll do. We just won't actually do that one at all, and we'll just go on to the dry brushing after that. There's going to be a couple of cuts in here. I didn't do this as a live stream for a reason, because we're going to wait for these to dry. I'm going to pause this and come back, and we're going to do some dry brushing of some other colors, and like I said, just try to test as many colors as we can, and we're just going to see how the process goes. So you guys are on board with that. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, here we go. Let's have him watching out for us. My apologies, I had to turn autofocus off of this, or else it was never going to focus on anything other than my thumb. So when I'm doing stuff on the table, it's going to be a little out of focus. Hope you can forgive me for that. So to start the wash of each of these colors, we'll start with a combination of matte medium and water. Green. See how that does. Alright. That needs more water. more into focus. All right. Let's see. Yeah, that's about where we want it. Filling in the recesses, but not painting over them. Yeah, perfect. That's what we're looking for. All right. I'll mix up the black in just a sec. And as always, while I'm doing this, I hope you guys are having fun working on your pile of shame of your own. I see it. I see that pile of shame. Yeah, this is going to be all over my fingers. That's all right. It's not the end of the world. Okay. More bubbles. There we go. I like that combination so far. Let's see how the blue-green goes. I feel like that's really going to pair well with doing like either London gray, or actually was thinking maybe a silver for the bars themselves. The plan was always to do a gray, but I got to be honest, I'm really low on London gray, so... And I have a ton of silver because it comes in every single Vallejo kit that you buy. Like, anytime you get a kit from Vallejo, combination of colors is going to come with silver. So I'd have like 4 bottles that I haven't used. Because it's such a bright color. It's a good color, but it's so bright. Gotta make sure not to blast paint all over. I guess it doesn't matter. Looking good. Soak a bit of that back out. All right. Oh, those are gorgeous so far. Gorgeous. Clean up my fingers here. All right. Really don't need as much as I mixed. Another drop. There we go. Oh, that was too much black. Ah, well. I mean, if you're going to go with black, there's not really such a thing as too much. Black is black. Adjust this. There we go. Ooh. I really like that. I was planning on using black on the weapons for the plasma coils. But I do like this so far. Then again, this is step 1, so liking it so far is not. Doesn't mean much. Like it's out of a Telltale game. Alright. Now, do I want to continue leaving this one? Which one do I like the most so far? Use that for the third. I think I like the Azure the most. And I have a lot of it left over, so why not? Let's go ahead and give it a shot. I can always make more test bases if we need to. And we'll probably end up painting over a couple of these. Alright. Now these are just going to need a little bit of time to dry. Alright, and we're back. These should be pretty much dry. God, that light's really washing these out. It's alright. I think these turned out pretty well. Ah, there we go. Pretty well so far. Now, we're going to start doing some dry brushing to get the tops of these painted. Actually, you know what? I think first, we're going to need to break out the silver. We're going to go ahead and paint these bars. Let's go ahead and do that next. Don't have to get the entire thing because the dry brush is going to cover a lot of it anyway. But at the same time, it's still good to have it on there. It'll should still show through pretty well. It is the point of a dry brush. It's going to take care of all the raised edges, which also means we don't have to worry too much about being sloppy in general. So if some of the silver gets onto these coffee grounds, who cares? They're raised. They're going to get painted over. And I did not pour enough silver. It's probably a good thing because the entire point of this is to go through as much silver as I can. I really meant it when I said I have like 4 bottles. Ooh, I really like that on the black. I really like that. Grab some more. Oh, that one got a little messy. Ooh. I like the silver with this blue-green a lot more than I thought I would. Yeah, that's usually how it works out. The one that was my favorite before ends up being the least favorite by the end. But we still have quite a few steps to do here. Still got to get to the dry brushing after this. Go. Okay. That's had a bit of time to dry. Now, I've gone ahead and grabbed 4 colors that I think should look interesting here. I'm just going to see how they all look. Might end up not going with any of these, might end up going with one of them, but for right now, we're just going to go ahead and dry brush each one of these on here, starting with deep yellow. What is this? No, flat yellow, sorry. Shake this up. If you've ever used a if you've ever used Vallejo paints extensively, you know exactly why it is I'm using that thumbtack, because the lids break all the time. All the time. Wow, this is really watery. This is not going to be good for dry brushing. Got to admit, so far that is fairly hideous. Ooh. All right. Okay. I'll keep up with the test, but I am not a fan of this yellow so far. I guess that's not really surprising. It's the one that I least expected to really work out. So I'm not going to say I'm really surprised. The flesh tone is the one that I'm actually excited for. It does look interesting on the black, though. Let's try the cork brown next. Cork brown and azure is actually the same combination of colors that we used on the Arctic bases that we used for the what was it, the Chaos Guardsman army and the kill teams. Ooh, I really like that with the black. I really like how that looks with the black. That's pretty cool too. This is probably the closest to how I imagined it originally, with those flecks of blue showing through. But it's maybe just a little bit too colorful. Oh well. Let's try the next one. Make sure that brush is nice and dry. Next up we have the medium, the medium flesh tone. Shake that. I like that one. Ooh, I think that one looks the most natural. That medium flesh tone on top of the black. I like that. Turn that around so they're all aligned. I really like that. I like a couple of these actually so far, which is good. That's the best case scenario. And what is our last color? Let's see. Last up we have Mahogany Brown. Ooh, well, it looks like mud. I'll give it that. Yeah, looks like mud. That one's kind of interesting. Alright. Now what to do about this last one? Well, could try just doing a combination. What are the ones that I like the most so far? I'd say it's definitely the cork brown and the flesh tone are the two best ones. Yeah, so let's give them a shot. Don't need that mahogany brown. There we go. Not even going to clean off the brush. It's a spare one anyway. Spare base. See how these look. Yep, those are the front runners. It doesn't even look unnatural just having them side by side. In fact, let's just see. How do they both look on there? These things are pretty ugly, if I'm being honest. How am I going to want these to look? Which of these is going to pair the best with what we have chosen for the body of the Space Marine himself, which is going to be this combination of red and green and purple? What's going to pair the best with those? And well, first and foremost, there's just way too much white showing. Way too much white showing. Way too much. What to do? Okay. Well, I really liked the black also paired with these exact same two colors. So why don't we try giving these two a wash of black and see how it looks. Now that we're at the end here, why not give it a shot? Because I think that's the main thing that's really holding them back right now, is just that there is too much black on these models, on these bases. And it's not really allowing the, it's just, there's no shadows. I think that's the main thing. There's just no shadows. You know, there's too much white. White as a mid-tone between brown and blue is just not going to work. So let's try something dark. Ooh, a bubble there. Let's give these a black wash. See how they look. I'm not even going to wait for them to dry. They'll be fine. Dry brushes dry pretty fast, so I'm not super worried about it. You know what? Let's add some more water and just make this real thin. Real thin. That's okay. There we go. That's the main thing. It's not a bad combination of colors. It's just that they're too bright and that white mid-tone is just not working. So let's try applying a black wash here. See how it goes. I got to admit, after the black wash, I'm coming around on that mahogany brown. Really coming around on that. Interesting. Didn't expect it. You know what? While we're already doing it, we've got the black wash mixed. Let's go ahead and try it on these two. Let's see how it looks. Not bad, not bad. Alright. This is the one we really care about. Let's see how it looks. They kind of look like wood. Those slats look like wood now. Interesting. Very interesting. How do these look so far? This is very interesting. Well, you know what? This is the half with the yellow. I meant to get it also on the other part. Really like the black wash with the flat flesh. That's what I'm leaning towards so far. I really like that. Honestly, I might just forego the blue entirely Why even bother? Just go straight for flat flesh, and then the black wash over top of that. Yeah, I think that's about where I am right now. Or the mahogany brown. I do like the mahogany brown, but I don't really want another red on the model. The cork brown's a lot lighter, though. I'm not sure yet. I think this is the one that looks the most natural. This is the... Which one is this? Right. This is the cork brown with the black wash. And I think it's... The mahogany brown and the cork brown are the ones that look the most natural. With the black wash. Just skip the blue altogether. That's interesting. We do have some flecks of blue showing through here now that this is drying out. You know, let me try... Grab that black wash again. Yeah, we still have those flecks of blue coming through, even with mahogany brown on there. Wow. Could also do it with the cork brown. That's interesting. I think... Is this the one I want to go with? You know what? Let's give these a moment to dry and come back to it. Okay, a little bit of time has passed here. These have had a pretty good amount of time to dry. Gotta be honest, all of these are pretty ugly. I do like the way the mahogany brown turned out with the black wash and those flecks of blue still showing from underneath. But I don't think any of these are going to be what I'm looking for. That's okay. They're just test bases anyway, so we're just going to paint over them and start on to something new. And I think to start that, we are going to go straight to mahogany brown and German extra dark green. And we're just going to paint over all of these, and we're just going to go straight into earth tones. Because I think that's the best thing we could possibly do when these are going to be so, like I said, pastel colored. I originally wanted to avoid using a green, but I have an idea what I want to do here. This black wash with the azure and the yellow makes me really hopeful that like a brighter scheme could work if I just didn't use the azure. Well, it's just an idea. Let's just see how it looks once it's actually on the model. Just paint over all that, and we're just going to start from scratch. It's the whole point of a test model anyway. Or test space, sorry. three more here. What do I want to do with these? You know what? Let's grab some more of the German extra dark green. Needed some extra anyway. The yellow was still showing through. Sure, why not? Ooh, that is mud brown. Sure, that'll be a fun little test. And then, you know what? For the last one, let's try out. Some water in there first. That's too much water anyway. Let's try out some medium flesh tone. To start out an earth-colored base. Let's give it a shot. See how it looks. Certainly sucks that everything didn't work out the first time. That's okay, it happens. I'm going to wait for these to dry, and I will see you guys in just a moment here. Alright, these are just about dry. Okay, I like where this is. Let's start some dry brushing. Oh, got a bug. Try that cork brown again. Just a little bit wet in the recesses, but that's all right. Okay, I do like that. Like that a lot, actually. Already like the idea of using the earth tones. Oh, this is just the stupid gray one. Whatever. Let's use up the last of this. Cork brown. Why not? Ooh, I really like that. I really like that. I don't know if I'll use it for these, but if nothing else, that would be really, really good for like an AdMech Mars base. I could definitely see this. Ooh, yeah, definitely see that. All right. Finally, this one's the flat flesh. Not much of a difference, actually. These colors seem pretty close. Well, since that last one wasn't very interesting, you know what? Let's try some of the German extra dark green. Let's try dry brushing some of that on these. try dry brushing some of this German extra dark green on here. This side. Not really a fan. It's kind of mossy, but it kind of just looks like mold, honestly. Well, maybe for a Nurgle base, that could be kind. Ooh, actually, you know what? This with maybe some like round like blobs coming out of it that I could paint into like pustules, like moldy. Yeah, I could see this for a Nurgle base. I could see that for a Nurgle base. I have to keep that in mind. Well, that's not bad. It's not great either. Needs a bit more paint. Yeah. It's certainly interesting, but not a fan. All right. What else can we try here? I'm definitely leaning toward the cork brown combination with the German extra dark green so far. Like that. Let's go ahead and grab the flat yellow. Let's give that a shot. Matt's moving around. Pretty natural looking. Interesting. Let me expand on that a bit. You know what? These look more like rocks than they do like actual earth. I think I may end up having to just go with like a muddy brown. Just paint them up like they're solid stone. That might end up being the play here. Once again, kind of a cool combination, but I'm not sure if it's what I want to use for this scheme. You know, I like a lot of these. The problem is, I'm just not sure about using earth tones. I just don't want to use so much green if the models themselves are also going to be green. That's my main issue here. Wait. Sorry, I had to stop and kill a mosquito. Anyway. I do like the German extra dark green. The problem is just that, it's just going to be green on green. Let's try some other stuff. Maybe I'll end up repainting this. Let's try Azure. Why not? Let's give it a shot. Ooh. Oh, that's very stone-like. That's very interesting. Huh. Maybe that's what I'll end up going with. Don't know yet. Let's continue with that. Oh, wow, that is vibrant. Oh, well, that certainly shows up well. That's interesting. All right. Let's try it here too. Wow, that was unexpectedly good. I like that. That's very pseudo stone. German extra dark green with a dry brush of azure. Let's try some other things though. Still got some time. Go for the blue-green this time. Maybe if I'm doing Idneth Deepkin one of these days. Let's check it out here. That's interesting. Again, interesting, but not super useful. I think stone is going to be the best way to paint these. And with that in mind, wow, that combination, that azure of the German extra dark green is really surprising me. Is there a wash we could use that would make it even better, though? That's the question. I don't want to use a white dry brush because I feel like it's going to make it too bright. Oh, lost my brush. I think that might be the play here. I think that azure is going to be what we end up going with. Fortunately, I have more than this one bottle. That's a very interesting pseudo stone. Do I still have that black wash? I wonder if it's still wet. I got a little bit. Grab some water. Let me apply this over half and just see how it looks. Well, actually, you know what? Before I do that, let's break out the silver. Paint over these real fast. Just gonna get the flat sections. is still a little bit wet. Oh, got some black wash on my light. Still a little bit wet, but that's all right. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, I think it's going to kind of defeat the purpose of having the green show through. Getting all that extra black. Yeah, it's still showing through. And we have a ton of extra shadows. But you know what? I don't think I'm going to end up going with it. Yeah, I think this is going to be the play. I think it's going to be this German extra dark green with the dry brush of azure. I think that's what I'm going to go going with. And the reason for that isn't necessarily that it looks the best, although I do think it looks good, but because I think that going with stone on here, that having those green depths along with the blue highlights to look like that pseudo stone is going to be what's best, because I don't want to end up going with like a green that's going to look like an earth tone, because it's all, the whole model is going to be really green. But I think that's what we're going to end up going with. I'll repaint one of these and I'll put another picture up at some point, I'm sure. Whether we go with the silver on those bars, I don't know. We'll probably end up going with gray, because I think that's just way, way, way too bright. Maybe a 50% mix. No, it's too bright. Yeah, I'm going to end up going with like a gray for that. Yeah, but I think that that German extra dark green with the azure dry brush is what we're going to end up going with. Hope you guys found this interesting. This is certainly a very colorful crop. Let me adjust the light here for a sec. Certainly a very colorful crop of bases that we've made here. I'll probably put a picture of these up in the community tab. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and I will see you when we start painting these Space Marines.